and welcome to Add More Zest. My name's Rebecca, also known as 4Kids at 147. Happy 19th of December, everybody. Extra happy birthday to my daughter Caris. It's her birthday today. I was going straight in then for peeling this off, but we're not diamond painting yet. We are opening day 19. I'm losing it. Right, day 19. So these will be a little bit different for some, or you may have the same, but there is a variety. But today's is the other sort of non-diamond painting-ish item, and it is a Christmas decoration. So some have a foam decoration, some have like a ceramic decoration, some are big, some are smaller. The ceramic ones, you could potentially jazz them up with a few little diamonds. You possibly could on the squishy ones as well, but it's just a nice little Christmas decoration for on your tree or somewhere else in your house, dependent on how you decorate. So day 19, we are on the rest of the light bulb for today. But I hope everybody is having a wonderful day. Have I finished that pot? Yes. I was just checking which pot of diamonds I needed to move over to. So the pen I'm working today is with one of our older limited editions with some purple and blue. And I thought it would go well with our purple stock tray. So this is a stock colour tray in sort of, it's a purpley blue. It's a little bit more periwinkle. It's a very, very hard colour to photograph, but I think it's a beautiful purple. Say a little bit light, goes quite nicely with all of our others. But yeah, we are working on the light bulb today. Speaking of the things that we're working on, Diana, she said on today's WIP, she said she thought the design was a sandwich. And then I said that we were finishing the books today. She said she had to do a double take to look at her iPad to see if she could make out books. She says she can see it, but she still thinks it looks like a sandwich, at least on her screen. That's hilarious. Absolutely love it. But yeah, that's this one up above that we finished on the 15th. So yeah, the 15th is books or a sandwich, depending on how it looks on your screen. But either way, I think it's pretty. Blossom Chops, she says, hi Rebecca, she says she's tried all three colours of blue tack or sticky tack. She would recommend the white followed by the blue. She said, however, she said the pink is awful. She said it's so sticky and stringy and it leaves one heck of a mess. So there you go. If you want to try some form of like tack in your pen, don't try the pink. Not unless you want a mess. Lady Dax says she'll be doing a little bit of seasonal decoration tomorrow as they have a friend coming over on Sunday for their pre-Christmas solstice lunch. Her tree is only 12 inches high and P. Jelly's one is only 2 foot high. She said we can't have anything bigger as their youngest fur baby, Seska, would try to impersonate the fairy. Love it. Love it. Try to impersonate the fairy. The things you have to do to keep things in your home safe is unreal. Update, I still haven't wrapped any presents. However, hubby and I did go shopping on Sunday, and we did get the stocking items. I did get some things for Luna, and we are pretty much done. I do need to see if I can order one thing for Catherine, but apart from that, I am done. When I'm going to be able to wrap, not too sure yet. WIP and Waffles tend to take, the first part of the evening for me before the next day, and that often saps some of the only energy I have. I prefer to wrap everything in one go, ideally. However, what I might need to do is just say this is going to take more than one day, and just set the stuff up on the table and do it bit by bit. But I'm not yet in a panic. If it gets to panic mode, then I'll probably end up getting it done super quick. Helen says, listening to my comments about Luna looking for socks, she says our dog Zach, when he was a puppy, he loved to steal my knickers out of the laundry basket, she says, when she was hanging washing out on the line, and would run up and down. Oh, sorry, my glue dot's very sticky. Would run up and down the backyard with them dangling out of his mouth. She said he lived the game of me trying to catch him to get them back. She said he was such a hoot. Unfortunately, he grew out of that game, but it was so funny when he did it. Yeah, Luna does the same with socks. When I was hanging them out on the line, she does like to grab at them. I must say she's not as fussed with knickers, which is probably a good thing in the long run. It's definitely easier to try and get socks off her instead. We played that battle this morning. She went to say hello to Catherine and managed to get one of her socks from the floor this morning. I'm sure she thought it was like gold, because she hasn't been able to grab a sock for a few days now, because I've been keeping them out of her reach. Busy Lizzie, she says those are books. She said she thought it was a cake. It looks like a layered chocolate cake. So there we go. We've got many food items in place of these books on this diamond painting. She says, are we able to see a picture/video of your Christmas tree and decorations? She says she loves seeing how everyone decorates for the holiday. I will, provided I remember to take one, I will try and remember to pop one up in the Facebook group, and then everybody can pop theirs in there as well if we want to have a little Christmas seasonal show and tell of all the different trees that we have. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get a good picture in the evening, so I'll have to try and remember to take one in the day tomorrow. I finally took a picture of the White Christmas today. I've been meaning to take that picture for ages as well, just so that I could get the video ready for between Christmas and New Year. And I finally remembered to take the picture of it today, so at least I'll be able to get that video ready and uploaded soon. Bev, she says she's just finished day 10 of the Diamond Art Studio picture. It only took her 4 hours and 16 minutes today. She said the reason it took her 8 hours on the first day is she used a new pen from the September launch with a plastic single placer, and she didn't get it along with it at all. She says she's now changed it to a metal one, and it's so much better. It's amazing how you get used to the metal placers so quick that using a normal placer just does not feel the same. She said, thanks for a great WIP and Waffle, and she hopes that I and everyone else has a lovely evening. Good sentiment. Here's to a good evening all round for everyone. Debbie says her 4 grown-up daughters have always want her to buy them an advent calendar. Yeah, we were in Smith's Toys the other day and I picked up a couple of gadgety bits for the kids' stockings, just like kids' party baggy type stuff. It was like, yeah, youngest might be 19, but they need something like that in their stockings. And somebody near us was like, I'm 27 and I'd want something like that too. So I think the stockings is just, yeah, it has to have geeky little tacky little plastic things in it for my kids to be happy. Oh, and they have to have, of course, the advent calendar too. Just the chocolate one, you know, they're not major picky, they just have to have an advent calendar. I mean, Megan picked them up this year, so they're not fussed who buys them as long as they have one. As long as they get picked up by somebody at some point, they're happy. Grey Legrand says she's hitting Paul's again with a laughy face. She says glued fingers to pen, and then another laughy face. She says she glues herself to so many things. So we all have our own little quirks. I seem to like to get paper cuts all the time, seems to be my thing. Not so much gluing myself to things, but if it can give me a paper cut, then yes, it likes to. Debbie, she's also said, she said, evening Rebecca. She says she is on her very last portion of her Ever Moment diamond painting. She said she went to Hobbycraft yesterday to get a frame. She said it's a nice and easy 50 by 70, so very easy to find. She is determined not to go to bed until it's finished. I love it when you get so close to something that you're like, yes, this needs to be done, needs to be finished. I'm actually very close to finishing the Diamond Art Studio calendar. I did a little bit this afternoon after getting the post ready, but before the postie came. So I have actually 2 sections left to finish. I'm trying to finish everything and get my video set up for between Christmas and New Year for Friday, because we don't get post collections on Saturdays and Sundays. Of course, Sunday is Christmas Eve, so if I can get everything done by Friday, hubby is off on Friday. Megan has broken up from school by Friday. Catherine, of course, has broken up from uni. Louie's home. Caris is home. So Christmas can start. So I'd kind of like to have the table clear, because we do like to play games and do jigsaws and things like that. So it's one of my I want to get finished things that's floating around on my head. Crayla Grant, she says, Rebecca, she said, how did you decide on the images for the Advent painting? She said, how did you find the images? And how do they get converted to a painting? And how is the colour palette developed? Well, a lot of the work was done by Sam from Diamond Art Studio in relation to converting them to a painting that made sense. So we did choose the images. There are a couple of sites that you can pay for. that have images that you are allowed to use for commercial reasons, for commercial things, if you are signed up and paying. So the artists sort of get paid through that. So the images, or the base images for this, were actually a few different artists. It's not one artist's image. There's actually a few different images that contributed to it, and a few changes that were made to things. But yeah, it was a selection of different images. I'm trying to think which one caught me first. I think it was the camera that caught my eye first. The camera image, and that sort of little bit retro-y, but not fully retro. But the idea of like the camera with the flowers sort of started it. That artist had a couple of others. After a lot of searching, a lot of browsing, coming up with other images that included flowers, etc. And then so some of the flowers were changed quite a bit. So, for example, the butterfly, which was actually the design that was done first because it had a lot of the colours in it. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this glue dot to stop being as sticky. There was a couple of different designs of flowers that Sam did before we decided on the one that looked best. And the sort of colour palette was sort of taken from that. So while one of the other images may have had flowers in it, they may have been different colour flowers or different shades of flowers, and they were given the same shading as what we'd done on the rest and on the butterfly. And then yeah, a lot of it was Sam charting the images, importing them into a software and charting them to make them look like we wanted them to, rather than, you know, softening any edges, making any images more prominent. All that sort of jazz. Is a lot of back and two. It also has to be done in bits, otherwise you can just feel like you're staring at a chart for far too long. So yeah, there's a lot of back and two over the course of quite a few months until things get sort of finalised. But we do tend to start with a base image that we get from somewhere that we've, you know, either paid for a license or the artists have said, look, anybody can use this for anything. And, you know, they're completely happy with their artwork being used, but we stick to, you know, sort of sites that are clear on where things have come from. And some of them don't even have artist names on them. But they've, you know, there are images with permission, but they're also changed that much quite often. It just gives us a baseline image that sometimes you might not even be able to find where it came from. It's changed that much. But yeah, it was sort of the idea of, I'm just scooting these over so that I don't have as much as sort of a gap between each of them. Just give a few a scoot. But yeah, so this one sort of started it all, and this one sort of came up with this type of flower a little bit more, which has come over into quite a few of the others. But yeah, it's fun. Most of the hardest part, decision-wise, is often deciding on an image. So it was quite nice for this painting because I could get to pick 12 I could get to pick 12 different images, and then, you know, the colours sort of, as I say, came from, this is the feel and the look I wanted. So I wanted the burgundy with the blue sort of look primarily. The, I don't know. Yeah, it was hard to sort of describe. Luckily, Sam did get what I was on about. But yeah, I wanted sort of the burgundy and the more muted colours than necessarily vibrant. So Zesty Wolf was quite vibrant. Our advent calendar was a little bit out there with colours. That was quite a bit different than your traditional, so I wanted to go a little bit more muted and a little bit more traditional colours for flowers and things for this one. But it's a lot of work. It's often a lot of work. I'm hoping that I can get faster with things as time goes on, because at the minute my messing is not producing anything wow. KS says she thinks that resin pen repair is going to become a thing. Yes, I think as soon as somebody finds a glue that will fix a resin pen well, you know, like sturdy, then I reckon once we've figured that out, we will all go fixing pens. Because say, I have a couple that I only use a single placer in because I've managed to damage the other end of it. A lot of the time it is because I've dropped it with a metal tip in, and my floors are hardwood, so they are nowhere near as forgiving, but they're still worth using. They're just not as pretty as some of my others, but it'll teach me to have clumsy moments. Laura, she says, hi Rebecca, she says, let me start by apologising for the long comment. You're alright, Laura, let's go. More than happy. She said she started diamond painting in March of 2023, and she was very fortunate to find me on YouTube. She thoroughly enjoyed June's WIP and Waffle and went through Rebecca Withdrawal when it was over. She said since you had several videos, she says thankfully she ordered the 2022 Advent diamond painting and watched all of December 2022 Advent videos. She says in the videos you were opening DAC Advent calendar. I don't know what Advent calendar I was opening in that one. I don't know that I was. She said she was so looking forward to the December event. I've never had a Diamond Art Club calendar, you see. I know when I was doing Zesty Wolf, I opened a calendar from Katie, but I don't know. I don't think I opened one in 2022 because I didn't have enough of our 24-day Advent to open it on video because we hadn't made enough. But she said she was looking forward to the December Advent event and purchased the Advent calendar and the painting. She says, here we are, she said, over halfway through, and she wants to thank me from the bottom of her heart. She says everything that she has received, she has been so excited getting, as she will be using everything. She says your detail and thoughtfulness in the Advent box is outstanding. She says she knows that me and the family have worked so hard for all of your diamond painting family. and she wants to express her heartfelt gratitude. Oh, thank you. She says, Merry Christmas and cheers to the best 2024 New Year ever. Yes, I can get behind that. Yeah, we do live and breathe Advent just a little bit throughout the year, but we love it. And we love the joy that it brings to others when they're opening it, and that makes us smile. There's so many products, even limited editions and things that we bring out, or new designs of things that we bring out, that make us excited, and we just want it to allow other people to be excited too, because it just makes the craft more enjoyable if you're excited about it. I think it's the exciting things. It just, I don't know, it's an extra layer, isn't it, to, and especially around Christmas time, it's nice for us adults to have excitement as well as the kids. I think us adults deserve more excitement sometimes than the kids, depending on how they're behaving. But it's lovely to be able to find ways where adults can enjoy Christmas like kids again. That's for sure. Susan, she says, hi Rebecca. She says, happy day 15 to all. In regarding the DAS Advent Calendar, oh, is that the Diamond Art Studio Advent Calendar? See, DAS, DAC, I'm getting confused. The Diamond Art Studio Advent Calendar. She says she is really enjoying it. She actually bought an Android tablet so that she could download Pattern Keeper. She says, but then she found that importing the PDF files works better on Markup RXP, so she's using that, she says, and it's going quite well. But she is going to keep her Android to use Pattern Keeper for other things in the future. She says in the meantime, she is furiously trying to finish the Diamond Art Studio Advent Calendar before the extended trial period from Markup ends. She said, here is a tip. She says, when your first free 7-day trial ends, Markup asks how you like the product. If you answer the question with still trying to figure it out, it extends your free trial period. There you go. There's a little tip. So if you've downloaded it, tried it for free for a bit, but need just a little bit longer, then you can potentially get a little bit longer. That's one that I've not tried yet. Probably would be handy to try because I do have more Apple devices than I do Android. I have one tablet that is purely for Pattern Keeper, and it works. Pattern Keeper works amazing with Heaven and Earth Design charts. I've just never tried it with another chart or importing it. I will admit I'm doing the Diamond Art Studio with paper. I'm just doing paper and crossing out or colouring in the sections as I do them, and that works perfect for me for those small ones. For a big long-term project, the tablet is great, especially with so many colours and finding them all. But on the small one, I found that using the paper hasn't been any drama at all. So it's easier because I'd end up not having charge in my tablet. So it's easier to just do it on paper because you don't need to put power into that. Cher Loves Orange said 10 days until Christmas. She said you better start wrapping. Well, good on you if you have. I've still not. Definitely don't have as many days until Christmas now, but do you know what? It'll get wrapped. I also know that I am more, now I know I've got everything I need to wrap, including the stocking parts for the kids, which was the main thing I didn't have. Because I know I have everything and I know where it all is, which is always a plus. I'm not as fussed this week. I'm just trying to get everything else done, and then the kids have a couple of sort of things they're doing with their cousins over sort of Christmas Eve and Christmas Eve. So I know I'm going to have a few days that if I get everything else done, I'm going to have a few pockets of time where I can wrap presents, play Christmas music and still get everything done in time. So I'm not stressing, honest. Alyssa says she enjoyed the waffle. Thank you. Glad you are enjoying it. There is a few more to go before we are finished for Christmas, and a couple of weeks after, depending on when I come back to do a WIP and Waffle, because I'm going to put videos up between Christmas and New Year, but I am going to be off the grid, should we say. Primarily, I'm going to be off the grid, trying to get some stuff done in the background while Megan's off. So I will come back with one or two or maybe more long waffles in the new year sometime, and still go through the rest of the comments. I'll just have a longer session doing a WIP and Waffle. KS, she says she just wants to say kudos to all of the people who are doing the conversion projects. She says maybe someday she will be up to it. She says right now, she says the main reason she started diamond painting was because it takes so little thought, and it's just relaxing while her mind does something else. She said she used to weave beads, and they could be quite intricate and challenging, but it was a couple of years of her not weaving beads before she realised that she needed something easier. She finally allowed herself to try diamond painting, and it seems just right. She said she hopes everyone has a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Yes, to all of that. Yeah, I mean, standard diamond painting is easier. I think, I mean, it's each to their own, but if you've not long been diamond painting, or you've had a hobby before that is quite intense, then making diamond painting more intense isn't appealing, and I completely get that. It took me a good few years of diamond painting and enjoying diamond painting, or a year or two maybe. Was it a year? Before I was like, okay, I want to start a Heaven and Earth design. And then ended up doing, of course, a huge one. Pattern Keeper saved that project, I think. I think if I'd have still been doing it on paper, it probably still would have been going. Whereas Pattern Keeper definitely made it more enjoyable. But there still was periods, at least 6 months or so, where I stopped doing it and just went back to the basics for a while, and enjoyed the hobby as the hobby before I picked up the challenge part of it. I personally don't like doing the challenge part of it all the time. I like having that bit more of a challenge sort of in between, or as a side project that I do when I'm in the mood. And the current one of that for me will be the 190 plus colour painting. But I don't think I want to only do that painting until it's finished. I like mixing it up, that's for sure. Mon Baby Shawal says Advent is a countdown to Christmas. The actual calendar is a recent thing introduced in the 19th century. Yeah, I did think the calendar was something that was more introduced a little bit closer. I mean, it's a very good idea for kids. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad I missed the Elf on the Shelf era, though, I will say. Because I do not fancy the idea of doing that day after day. I'm totally glad that missed my kids. But the Advent calendar I can handle. I've actually had a couple of Advent calendars that we had Advent calendars for a while that I made for the kids. Big ones that were little box ones where I decorated the front of some sort of blank ones, decorated them with scrapbooking paper and embellishments, and then filled them up each year. Loved those. I did just fill them up with a, standard sweet or chocolate or something that the kids liked, and loved those. But I'm so glad Elf on the Shelf does not need to come to this house. Coley Isaac says, great WIP and Waffle, Rebecca. This canvas is coming along so good. And they really like the individual pictures. They've said, my mum was wishing she had the funnel as she tried to kit up day 14, and all the beads, as she calls them, were getting everywhere. It would have made for a neater time. Her future is now neater, that's for sure. Said they've been hearing lots of talk of the Diamond Art Studio Advent, and we're wondering when you finish yours if you'll do a video with it, at least for the ones who couldn't purchase it. So yeah, I will be showcasing, I did an unboxing on it to showcase the sort of concept. There will be a de-kitting video for it. So I did kit it up off camera. I decided to start it on the 1st of December. And I did kit it up off camera, but I will do a de-kitting and a showing the completed. I'll do a video on that. So I'll do the de-kitting of all the diamonds first, and then I will give a warning to everybody before I bring the canvas to show you all at the end of the video. So if anybody's got it and doesn't want to see the finished canvas, then they can still watch the de-kitting and then just end the video early. But those that do want to see it can. Tends to be the fairest way, I think, to do sort of mystery ones, is to tag it on the end of a de-kitting video with lots of warning. Coley also said they've got a good Christmas story. Their mum this year wanted to buy a new tree and didn't really look at the height of it on the outside of the box. They arrived home with this great purchase, and the box said 7 foot tall. She was like, well, I think Dad said the wall height is 8 foot. So we'll have lots of room. Long story short, we don't get a tree topper because the ceiling is 7 foot tall and the tree brushes it. That's not a bad thing. I cannot get my star to stay on the top of the tree for love nor money. It's making the whole tree tilt. I don't know why I don't just get a big bow and tie it on, because getting a tree topper on is the worst part of decorating every single year. So I think your mum's won there, to be fair. If you can't have one, then it can't give you aggro. Coley said, you must be rubbing off on me because now I'm waffling in the comments, and can't wait to see the next video. Have a great day. I love the waffling in the comments. I love all the stories. It makes me smile. Makes me smile when I see them come through on email, and it often makes me smile when I read them out again as well, because I sort of speed read in the email, and then I tend to get more information or more detail when I read it properly, when I'm reading it out. And I've just realised I've missed a number 8 up there after doing them all down the bottom. So I'm going to tip it into the lid and get that one. Oh, that one's a row of 3. Those 3 are fastened. Let's just put them up there and get that one. There we go. Now we can go back to what we were doing. Oh, there's only 3 of these as well. So let's tip these into the lid, give them a little shake, and I should be able to find 3 that are the right way up. Just enough. But we'll tip the letter M into the tray. I feel like with the green, even more so, I need to be seeing my symbol. Kira says, with so much interest in the little pots, you might want to save that as a guaranteed advent item only. Sounds like a good business idea and one less thing to think of. We just like to vary things up for the advent, that's the thing. It is a good idea though, because it would fit in the advent box. Because the amount of goodies that are in there, it tends to hit the weight. So the size of the little pot wouldn't matter. But yeah, the pot is definitely generating interest. I haven't tried it yet in one of our boxes without the top on. I do have some in the office space, but they're not handy to grab. They're tucked in a box on a shelf behind something, with everything else from the advent. So I will end up pulling one out soon, or taking my one in to the office and check it in a box so that I know whether without the top it will work. I'll see, but I've got a feeling it's the pot itself, regardless of the top, that's too big. But it's whether it's something I can get away with, size wise. So I will keep you posted when I know how long it will take me to do that. It's remembering when I'm in the right room. It's remembering, because I don't have any boxes in here either to test it in here. I only have the advent box, and I know it fits in there. Kira also said, thank you for sharing your explanation of the advent. They want to start that with their grandboys, and they think they'll talk to them about it this summer, so they understand it when it arrives, now that they've moved 11 hours away. That's a lovely thought. If it's not something that they're sort of aware of, or that, you know, they do, it's like it's a tradition that can be exciting. I do remember when my nephew was younger though, he opened all of his on the first day. Just opened everything, and then didn't have a calendar then for the rest of December. But then again, some people have done that with the Admiral's S calendar as well, so maybe it never leaves you. Maybe it's something that once you want to do that, it never stops. Liz says they caught up early Saturday morning, 6 a.m, as they didn't get round to doing their square / watching yesterday, as she went out to have her nails done, and then sat down with the hubby and watched TV together while they did a Christmas colouring page. She's managed to get up to square 5 of her Diamond Art Studio Advent picture, and she's loving it. Definitely marking the canvas with a Sharpie into 10 by 10 grids, and the same on the chart is a game changer. Getting a system now. If they do the AB border, then she does the white ABs, then the colours 1, 2, 3, sometimes 3, 2, 1. It just depends on the position of the square on the canvas and on her easel. Have a lovely day, she says. Thank you for everything you do, and wishing you and your family a lovely Christmas. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you've got into a rhythm. It is nice when you find a rhythm for it, and I find it's a lot quicker. It does depend on the image itself, but I did one today, I think in about an hour and a half. I got one done today. I think that's why I've been able to sort of get ahead. I have found because I've got quicker and quicker, as I've got my rhythm, you know, my rhythm of marking off the paper, and all that sort of stuff, and how you sort of get familiar. It's like when you're diamond painting with a canvas as well. You get familiar with that canvas and with the colours and with the symbols. You get more familiar as time goes on. You definitely get used to it a bit more as you do more and more, which can make it quicker. So yeah, once you get sort of your rhythm, your system, what works for you, the time can just get shorter and shorter. But it can also be more enjoyable because you don't have to think as much either, because everything's more familiar. Right, let me get my next one. Oh, I've got a couple of O's in there as well. Make sure I don't put colours on those. Kathy said, okay, something weird is going on around here. All their diamonds for their advent painting were doing just fine until everybody started talking about the little jar with the nut inside for fixing clumped drills. She said she doesn't have one as she didn't get the advent calendar. Now all of a sudden she has clumping drills. It's amazing what can happen. She said it freaks me out how conversations on YouTube start creeping into real life. She says, is she the only one? I think sometimes we can. There was something, I can't remember if I read it, not on Reddit, but if I read about it or heard about it. I can't remember which it was, but it's partly due to the way your brain works. So your brain, I mean, I don't know whether it's like full on everything, but your brain can work with familiarity and recognises things that in effect are things that you're thinking about, and it can associate that you've thought about them or talked about them. I think it's like a way that your brain heightened seeing things. So, I mean, let's go basic. So, you know, there are some people, for example, that love fashion. Yeah, they love fashion, they love clothes, they love what outfits that people are wearing, all the rest of it. They're the people that will notice what people are wearing when you go out for a meal. You know, an outfit looking good. You know, this top paired with these pants and how good or it does or doesn't look. And then you've got people like me who really aren't too fussed. As long as I feel comfy, I'm happy with the way I look. Apart from that, I don't pay attention to what anybody else is wearing. Unless they walk past me in fancy dress, I probably wouldn't notice at all. It's just not on my radar. Because it's not something that interests me. I probably couldn't tell you whether a family member I saw one day was wearing exactly the same thing they were wearing the day before or not. Yet somebody else who's very interested in fashion could possibly list the last 3 outfits that somebody wore. So it's similar to that. So, for example, if you are... I think this was the example they used in it. If you are looking at getting a new car, for example, and you're thinking, let's use Tesla as an example. I might get a Tesla, I might not, you know, or even if it's your dream car, it's the car that you want, you start seeing them everywhere. You start seeing them in the car park when you're going the shopping, you start seeing them at the lights when you're waiting, all the rest. It's not that the car is more about than it was a week ago. Even though they are increasing in popularity, it's because your brain is hunting out things that you are interested in, that you like, and is helping you in effect with things that are comfortable for you and reassuring for you. And at that time, it happens to be the Tesla that you manage to see everywhere. You know, whatever it may be, but there is a lot of it that your brain can sort of do. So in relation to your clumping drills, it may well be that you've had them on the painting before and the painting before that, but you didn't really pay attention to them that much, you know, because there's quite often I get clump drills in with my diamonds, but they're clumped together that I can just push my pen and they split apart, and they, you know, they don't stay like stuck together hugely that I have to do something, you know, that takes longer to fix them. They're just ones that I can just push my pen on one and they split apart. Or I may not have many of them. So while there may be a couple that are clumped, there's enough drills in the tray for me to basically ignore them. But because you've not had a discussion over clump drills or heard me discuss clump drills, you just wash over it. You're too busy thinking about something else, worrying about something else, planning, you know, to decorate somewhere or planning to buy a car instead. So your brain just sort of doesn't retain that information because who cares? You don't care. You're thinking about someone else. But because we've had that conversation about it, your brain notices, and you'll probably find that your brain notices for a while any and every clump drill that you ever have, until that topic stops being discussed on a WIP Waffle or doesn't become, you know, something else becomes of interest that takes your mind away first. So part of it is your brain. It can freak you out, I get that, but do know it is the way your brain is wired as a human, to make or to highlight to you things that are familiar. And there is some sort of term for it, and it has been studied, and it is a thing that your brain is supposed to do. So don't let it freak you out. Your brain is behaving itself. I'm not saying it will behave itself all the time. I know mine doesn't, but for now it's behaving itself. And that was very long-winded. Anne-Marie, she said she absolutely loves this little diamond painting. She said the drills fit together so nicely. She said, is this Diamond Art Studios' new field and drills? The little one in the advent calendar, yes, it was. This one had already been designed and sent off. We started planning this one in January. So this one had already gone to, in effect, their older supplier. But the small mini one, yes, that is their new supplier. It was one of the first ones that the new supplier did. She says, thank you. Oh, she says, do they come packaged like this? Or are they still in grip seal bags? The diamonds come packaged in the strips, and the actual diamond painting itself comes to us grouped together. They come in a bag, but in a group of 20 or more. So yeah, they don't get packaged in a box and stuff. They come completely different with the tiny ones because they are smaller. She says, thank you so much for our advent box and all the time that you spill over the year for us. Thank you for your family too. Can't wait to see your new space. Congratulations, you deserve it. And thanks again for all that you do. Oh, thank you, Anne-Marie. I'm so glad that you like the little painting and stuff. That's been one of the very excited for items. Number 2 was as well, actually, but that was because I knew it would cause confusion. But I also knew it would be something that would potentially be used by many, especially because we keep discussing clumped together drills, because we're discussing them so much, you guys will notice any and all that you get for quite a while. But yeah. Right, plenty more comments for me to take over till tomorrow, but we've got quite a nice big section of all this done. We're actually going up here to finish up the tippy top tomorrow before we move down here for the last few days in this Advent event. But I'm loving it. Let me take that off. Oh, I've managed to pull a diamond out, but it has been stuck on here for about 4 days. So let me bob that one back in. You can tell because I've still got drills in there from days ago. But yeah, I think I am liking the rhinestones in the middle. I do keep nudging the odd one down. I like to run my hands over the diamond painting every now and then just to check I've got them all in place. But this has been on and off this easel the last few days because I've done 1 or 2 videos that weren't the WIP and Waffle. So I had to move it off and move it back on again. So I'm probably beating up the drills a little bit. But yeah, we shall do number 20 tomorrow. But thank you all so much for joining me, and I'll speak to you all tomorrow.